Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of Boom, the G.I.Joe classified figure Footloose. So the first thing I want to mention is that I do have a membership program. So for $2 a month you get a lot of really cool stuff like behind the scenes, blooper reels, and much more. So without any further ado, roll that intro. So here he is in packaging. Now he has your standard G.I. Joe classified packaging. So you got the Joe logo up here, Footloose, G.I. Joe classified, the Joe star, your choking hazards and age restriction, plus the Hasbro logo. Come around here. You get some art. It's alright. I've seen better. You got the Joe logo here, his number. Come around to the back here. You get this picture of him, which looks really nice. Looks like you got the Mauler behind him. Probably another vehicle we won't ever see. Some of his special details. And also you got your legal underneath. Come around to this side. You got his stats, the QR code, and his number. All right, come back around to the front. On top, you got the Joe star and his number. And then underneath, you got your legal and SKU. So, with all that being said, let's open him up and see what he's about. So here he is out of packaging. The first thing we're going to do is go through his points of articulation, which would probably be your standard classified joints. So first off, you have the head. That moves. Shoulder joint with a swivel. Got an elbow joint and a wrist joint. All right. Get this other arm up. He does have a joint underneath the ribs that allows back and forth movement, and one at the hips. All right, you come down, you got your thigh joint with its swivel. All right, you got a knee joint. You got a swivel at the top of his boot. All right, and then you also have an ankle joint. So all his joints feel like they work pretty easily. I don't have any issues with any of his joints. So now we're going to start off with his finer details and, of course, the head sculpt. I like the head sculpt on him. I think that looks really nice. All right. So you look at the side here, look at the front. I do feel like it captures the look of the original figure. I do like that overall look. All right. And then as you move down his body, you can see that his uniform is a camouflage look to it. I like the harness on him. The grenade is part of the harness and what have you. Around to this side, you can see the continuation of harness, his uniform. Bring this arm down. Now you can see that he has the American flag and the stars around it, which is pretty nice. All right. Whoops. He wants to lean back. He ain't going to allow that. Come around to the back. You got the rest of his harness. You have the spot where his pistol goes. Some med kits. Now this, I'm kind of concerned about this. So he has a pouch with an extra clip in here. But the clip is part of the belt. It's not a single piece. Like before with the classified figures, you know, like the extra stuff and all had pouches that you could actually put this stuff in. It wasn't one with the belt. So his spare clip would have actually been, you know, an actual clip that you could swap out with the rifle. So I'm not really digging that because that means that feels to me like they're getting cheap on us. Like they're not going to give us the parts. They're going to just, you know, make it part of his decor. So I'm not liking that. All right. He has a pouch here underneath the arm. Bring the arm down. Oops, stop leaning forward. He has a red 4-leaf clover and his watch. Now, coming back to what I was saying about the clip, it's the same thing with like the grenades. Like for the first couple of waves or so, the grenades weren't part of the outfit. They were actually pieces that you could put in your hands and do stuff with. And then a while after, they started making it so they were part of the uniform. And I got a feeling that's what they're going to start doing with the spare parts of the rifles, or at least that's how I feel now looking at that clip being part of his belt. So the overall look is good. I am a little concerned about that. Now let's start getting into his gear. So first off, he has his helmet. All right, so he has a set of night goggles on top here. You can see that he has like netting with bush gear and, like leaves and stuff in it. So I do like that. All right. He has his backpack. Actually, I think it goes that way. Okay. He has a rocket launcher. All right. Now I do like this little, shark mouth and eyes. I do think that looks pretty cool. Gives it a sense of style, to it. So I do like that. He has a rocket for it. All right. He has a pistol. And it does have a hole in the front for blast effects. So that's pretty good. All right. He also has a knife. And last but not least, he has his assault rifle. Now, this is what I'm talking about. As you can see, the magazine can be removed. And before, you would have two magazines. One would go in his belt. The other one could be in the rifle. And you could always, like, if you're posing your figures, you could put, like, one in his hand, the other one out. Like he's changing clips in fight. But, nah, looks like we ain't doing that now. And, of course, there's also a hole in the front for any kind of blast effects you want to use with him. So now let's start looking at his gear. So first, I'm going to start with the backpack. All right. Should just go right into the hole in his back. All right. No issues with that. Around to the front here. All right, let's work this helmet on. So he has a chin strap here that might get in the way a little bit. You have to pull it down. There we go. All right. So that works. So there he is with the helmet on. All right. Like how that looks. Now let's see if the goggles actually do come down. No, they go up. They don't actually come down. So they pretty much just stay in position there. The original helmets, these goggles are meant to come down. And for some reason, you don't get that movement on this figure, which is kind of a bummer. I feel like if they're going to add an extra detail like that, it should, move accordingly like how it should. So now let's take a look at the knife and pistol. All right, let's do the knife first. Got that there. That joint's a little stiff. All right, and the pistol. Your finger does not want to cooperate. There it goes. All right. So now the pistol and knife fit well in his hands. No issues with those. The knife will go up here into that little hole. And then the pistol goes underneath the arm here. All right. Well, we're getting some resistance. All right. There it goes. So it does wind up staying. You just got to finagle it a little bit. All right. So as you can see, pistol sits nicely in there. No issues. And the knife fits right up there. So next, let's do the rocket launcher. Now you can just have that sit over a shoulder like this. All right. So if you want to display it with them over the shoulder, you can do that. And then, of course, you can flip it around. Where's he supposed to hold this? All right. Guess. I don't know how he's supposed to hold this. There's no trigger or anything on here. I don't even know if he's meant to hold it like that now. All right, I'm not exactly sure how he's supposed to hold this. Unfortunately, I'm not a weapons expert. I know most toy rocket launchers, there's usually a handle or something. I'm not sure if this particular missile rocket launcher is designed to be held a different way. So, unfortunately, I can't tell you how he should properly be holding this. But I'm going to just strap it over his shoulder because I think how they're supposed to be held is like this. Like I said, I could be wrong in that. If I am, I apologize. I believe it's supposed to be held over the shoulder. All right. So, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm not exactly sure how this particular rocket is meant to be held. All right. Now, in the picture, it shows him having this arm around it, right, and this over his shoulder, and he's kind of holding it like this or something. I'm not exactly sure. That's a little iffy to me, but the missile fits in here just like that with no issues. So I guess he's supposed to hold it like this. Once again, I apologize. I'm not 100% sure how this particular rocket launcher is meant to be held. So I'm going to just put it over his shoulder and just let him live with it like that. Now he has his assault rifle. All right, let's get that finger in there. Let's get this rocket launcher off. All right. Boom. Got the finger in there. All right. Now hold this by the barrel. So let's open up his hand, which is still one of the things I always loved about these G.I. Joe figures, that the hands open up so easily. And it really makes it easier just to put their weapons in their hands. So as you can see, that he holds very well with no issues. Okay, so let's get into my final thoughts of them. So first off, his joints move very well. No issues with how any of his joints move. All his weapons swap on easily enough, and what have you. And overall, he's a pretty good looking figure. So would I recommend this figure? Yes, I would. I would recommend him. I think he looks great. He'd definitely be a good addition to your classified line of figures. I do have some minor issues. One, the goggles. I feel like if they're going to add these night vision goggles to them, that they should move. I would have liked to have seen them be able to come down like they should. The magazine that is now part of the belt, that's a little concerning for me. It makes me feel like Hasbro's going cheap, where instead of giving you two clips, they're just going to give you one clip that goes with the gun, and then the other one is now part of the belt. The rocket launcher, I can't say nothing bad about it because I'm not too familiar with this particular weapon and how it should be held. So, I'm not 100% sure if that's a flaw with the figure or if it's just my lack of knowledge. So, with that being said, I hope you guys did like this review. The first thing I want to do is give a shout out to everybody who supports this channel. First on that list is Byron Bassett and his alter ego, Humongous. He does a lot of stuff for the channel and he also supports it. So he has his own YouTube channel and also show that he does every Sunday. So check that out. All his information is in the description. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Action Figure Geeks. All right, on Reddit. They're also another supporter of the channel, and I'm part of that Reddit channel. It's actually a pretty decent channel. So go ahead and check that out. Their information is also in the description. And I want to say thank you to everybody who watches and supports this channel All of you is very much appreciated. If you can, I'd like you to take a look at my G.I. Joe playlist and check out my membership program. Plus, hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So, until the next one, late.